Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shift the Narrative with Tanysha Carroll. Mommy and me on assignment. We are here with a very special guest tonight, and I'm so grateful to have all of you here. If you are seeing this, on Facebook Live, I invite you to share it. If you're seeing it on YouTube, I ask you to invite others in to be a part of the conversation. Every month we have a conversation about women and relationship that women have together and the unprecedented narrative that women cannot get along. And we hear and we think madness come to shift that narrative because we believe that women are there to support, encourage, and lift up one another. And so if you agree with that fact, put a one in the comments, say I agree. If you are unsure, then I invite you to stay with us a little bit longer so that you can get a better idea of how women can operate and work together to build the kingdom and to build greatness in themselves, in one another, and most importantly, in our daughters. So tonight, I have with me the one and only Dr. Sprinkles. Y'all don't know? This is Dr. Sprinkles. I know her as Beth Goodman, and she is an amazing woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, a woman of God, a woman who is about business and is about encouragement, about lifting up and building the woman. Okay. And so she is here with us tonight. She is an international speaker. She is a coach. She's a mentor. And like I said, she's an entrepreneur, owner of Kingdom Clothes. And for the record, I was there from the beginning.
Yes.
I still have my original Diva shirt, and it needs to be encapsulated at this point. But we thank you for being with us tonight. Beth, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Shift the Narrative.
Thank you. I am honored. I'm trying not to cry because I'm excited. Number one, celebrating you for understanding the assignment. Because you clearly have done that. I cannot find the words to say how proud I am of you for stepping into your most authentic self and watching you show up and shine for others. I'm just so proud. I'm so very proud. And so to be here today is an honor to sit with my sis to serve others. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. So when you think about it, first of all, I'm sure you've heard it, but tell us about this idea that women can't get along. Did you hear that growing up, and how did it impact you?
Well, I did hear it growing up. Actually, I didn't hear it growing up. I heard it once I got into college, my latter years, high school, and then into college. And then as you got into the workforce, that women couldn't get along, because the reality of it is going from high school to college, we don't really consider ourselves women, if you will. We just consider ourselves to be big girls. So we don't have the responsibility of knowing what womanhood is, because we are still in that in between, not really grown, sort of kind of grown-ish area. So finding out about it was by watching others around me in the workplace, others around me during family things, just watching and then hearing people say, women don't get along, and you try to understand what does that really mean? What does that really mean? Because when you've come from a family of women who have, even when times they were not on the same page, they came together and got along for certain things. So it was like, okay, what does that really mean? But then coming into the workspace, you begin to see the division, you begin to see backbiting, you begin to see the people not supporting one another like they should. Because my processing is that, you know, we're women, we stick together. I help you, you help me. We know the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. Baby, I'm trying to make you the Ginsu knife. You remember the Ginsu knife that it cut up? I'm trying to make you the Ginsu. Yeah, I'm trying to make you the Ginsu. I'm trying to make you the Ginsu only because I know we do it better together.
Absolutely.
We do better together. And so if you're bringing your best to the table, I'm bringing my best to the table, then we don't have anything but the best being presented. So I hear it. I have seen it. My experience with it has been some, but not as detrimental as it could have been for other people. And I'm grateful because what it has done is it allowed me to learn, it allowed me to glean, and it allowed me to lean forward into what not to do. So watching people have that experience, if you don't have the level of maturity to stand in your most authentic self and to sift through what doesn't belong to you, you get caught up in it. You get caught up in it. And when you get caught up in it, you're standing by because you really don't know how to respond to something that's foreign to you. So you kind of just go with the flow, with the flow. And that's when you get absorbed into the narrative that we are shifting on today.
Yes, I love this because I think that we may have had a similar experience because I grew up, and although I didn't necessarily have a lot of women in my close proximity, my mother had a lot of girlfriends. And so the idea that women couldn't get along was really foreign to me, but I would always hear people say it. But at the same, so me, I just would kind of look and watch and wait to see, you know, what is it true or is it not true? You know, just kind of testing the waters because it is not what I saw, like you saying. And my mother had all sisters. So the idea that women can't get along, what do you mean? They're nothing but sisters. They got to get along. And so, and then even my dad had 4 sisters. So there was a lot of women in my family. And even though they weren't like right there with me, it was ridiculous to me. But again, I was like, well, you know, I don't know. Is it right or is it wrong? And so I think that in today's world, when we consider that women's ability to move forward, nowadays, there's so many women who are high ranking in business and achieving things. And it's so important that we take one another, like reach back and grab somebody. Reach back and grab somebody, be it someone who is your peer or the younger generation. Reach and grab someone so that we can shift the narrative.
Absolutely.
In order for us to shift it, we have to do it. We have to change something that we are doing or have done. Yes. And when I consider this idea that, you know, for us here at Rethink Madness, we primarily work with the moms of tweens. Well, if we're saying that women don't get along, what we're saying is that mothers and daughters can't get along.
Right.
And I don't think we consider that. We don't consider that. So tell me about, now, ladies and gentlemen, Beth is a mom of boys. She's a mom of boys. However, obviously, she is a daughter.
Yes.
And, you know, her mother has gone on to be with the Lord, but had a great impact on who she is and how she shows up. So tell me, what did you learn from your mom about being with other women? Because your mom has sisters.
Yes. And so part of that story is what she taught was, number one, to love yourself. Number one, to love yourself. When you love yourself, it creates a standard or a place where others are to come and begin to love you. So if you love yourself at this level, that's where people will start. If you're here, you're here. If you're here, it's here. That's what she would always say. Number one, love yourself. And as you love yourself, you can then love others, because what you connect with, however we're connected, we are connected by the same thing. And that's why we're able to have relationship, because there's something that draws you to me and me to you and vice versa to all of those that you're around. So she would always simply say, when you are kind, when you are loving, when you are giving, how you treat people is how people are going to treat you. And she would always say that. So I was, let's see, how would I, what kind of child was I? I was strong-willed.
Y'all know what that means.
Yes, I was strong-willed. I was
B-A-B.
No, I wasn't bad. Now, look now, I wasn't bad. I was strong-willed. I was strong-willed. Quick interjection. I'll tell you how strong-willed I was. I had done something and my mother said, don't you leave your room. Don't you come out of that room until you are ready to apologize. And so my strong-willedness had me stand at the edge of my door and just stand at the edge of my door. And that stand at the edge of my door. That's my strong-willedness. And then there was one other time that I remember where I was really, overly strong-willed. I think it was maybe the 4th grade when I talked back or did something. And I got a wacko. Yeah, that kind of thing from my mother. But she also helped to understand that you can't say everything you feel. You can't say everything that you feel. And that also comes into play with the relationships that we have. You can't say everything that we feel, and you have to always temper it. You have to temper it and consider, okay, how am I going to feel if someone says this to me? How am I going to feel if someone says this to me without a full understanding? How is that going to make me feel? And so always just saying, consider the other person, because we are here to serve. Consider the other person. How would that make them respond? So in listening to that and watching how she served in the community, how she ran things in her living facility prior to her transition, and even how she navigated as a mom, she just always was, she never excluded. She never excluded. When she did for one, she did for the other.
Wow.
And she did for one, I never felt slighted in any way, shape, form, or fashion that she treated us differently. Never, ever thought to myself, well, I didn't get this or I didn't get that. Never had that experience. So it was a great balance of her showing us, you all are what you have. You all have each other. You all are supposed to be back to back. And when you are back to back with your sister friend, I like to call them my fristers. When you are back to back with your fristers, there's not anything that we can't conquer. Because if I turn this way, you got my back. When I turn this way, I have your back. And if you go this way, you got my back and I have yours. So we are 360. We are 360. We are 360 and we have each other. And the wonderful thing about that is that each of our experiences connect at some point in our lives, whether we are going through them at the same time, individually, yet collectively, or if we're going through them together collectively and then experiencing them individually. Yeah. So there's so much there when it comes to that. And we just have to know that the seeds of greatness that your mama gave to you, the seeds of greatness that my mama gave to me, woo, I'm not finna cry.
This is a safe place.
Woo! No, this might be safe, but this is the blue mascara and it burns.
Well,
your mother, there were particular things that she put in you that were meant for me. Woo. And there were particular things that my mother put in me that were intended for you.
Yeah.
And it has helped us to be the amazing women that we are today, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It has purposed us. It has purposed us together. And I don't think we take the time to honor that, the time to consider that we go through things for the sake of other people.
That's good.
We go through things for the sake of other people. We really and truly do. I mean, just the same as Calvary. He went through for us. He went through for us. So we had to go through for somebody else. We had to be the, come on, download. We had to be the conduits so others can do it.
Now, maybe y'all haven't caught on just yet, but Beth Goodman is a wordsmith. Okay, so Kingdom Clothes is all about words and how the words come. And I'm sure you can see her shirt, Flawed and Fabulous. That's an original Kingdom Clothes design. I know you see that W going a different way. So, and our scripture underneath. So, you know, when you hear her repeating words, just know that a t-shirt is on the way.
And will.
It's on the way. It's on the way. It's on the way. I appreciate you, sharing that and being so vulnerable with us about what is in us and what we have learned along the way from our mothers. Again, good, bad, or indifferent, because what we understand is the generation before us, just like us, did the best they could with what they had.
Yes, ma'am.
And we got what we needed to get, and then we took it a little bit higher. And then we expect, it is the expectation that we are taking it higher, we'll give it to the generation coming behind us, and then they also will go a little bit further, a little bit higher when it comes to this. And we expect and we anticipate that in the generations to come, in 10 years from now, in 30 years from now, that we won't have this narrative that women can't get along, because we will have told our daughters, our granddaughters, listen, that's your sister. Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about, of course, everybody doesn't always get along. Right. Period. It's just what it is.
Yes.
So tell me, how have you encountered this narrative in life, in business, when it comes to female relationships? Something you had to learn from. You had to, somebody who didn't have that same empowerment that you had.
Yes.
They grew up in the women don't get along family, and so they come into situations differently. Yes. They just come into situations differently, and they might come in with their guard up.
Yes.
And they're like, why is she so bubbly? Why is she bouncing down the hall like that? Yeah.
That part. Hashtag real talk.
I mean, it's a real thing. Of course, we know that. Now, ladies, let's be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we are that person, and we're like, why is she so happy all the time? As if it's a crime. Guilty as if there's something wrong with joy.
Yes.
But when you have not come in from a place of joy, or learned that I can have joy despite my situation, then you don't know. And there's so many things that you don't know.
Come on. And you don't know till you don't know that you don't know.
Come on. So talk a little bit about that and how you navigate those places of discomfort, and just where it may not even be your discomfort but the other person's, but you got to maybe work in a situation with them. You may have to be with them for whatever time or period.
So I may speak slowly on this only because I want to make certain that I remain discreet in sharing of this story. But that is an experience that I had. And when I say there were locks, chains, doors, barbed wire, the things that tear up the tire, all of those things, I mean, is Fort Knox, no, what's the prison that you have? Anyway, I can't think of the name of the prison. Anyway, doesn't matter. That relationship started off like that. I mean, just completely blank, nothing. Good morning, very stunned, everything. And so what I had to understand is like, okay, again, Beth, everyone's not where you are. I understand that. However, you cannot not be yourself. Because when you are not being yourself, you are not showing up in the truest person of who you are, number one. Number two, but number one, the truest representation of Christ. He says we are supposed to love. So all I did was simply tone down my love, accommodated and understood the person's spirit. And now we are best buds. And when I say best buds, I mean, like, there's a problem if I don't see you, it's a problem if I don't hear from you. And by me continuing to love from that place of, I don't have a clue as to what your life experience has been, but I'm going to love you for who I see and believe that you are. I'm going to love the Christ in you and attract and attach myself to the Christ that's in you because he is there.
Yeah.
And so when doing that, then it takes it off of you and then it doesn't become personal. And that's what we have to start realizing, ladies. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Easy come, easy go. Do not take it personal. Because if we stand in that place, that's when we don't get along. When we start taking it personal. She ain't talking to me. She ain't said this. I've been there, done that. Not what I've Googled, but what I've gone through. Don't take it personal, because when you take it personal, you lose time. When you take it personal, you lose peace of mind. The peace of mind can be gotten back, but that time, you can't get back years. Matter of fact, you can't get back seconds.
Right.
So the reality is, do not take it personal. And if you are uncomfortable in that space, pray. Just say, okay, God, help me, show me me. That's my thing in anything. Show me me before I respond. Because if I'm popping off or if I'm taking it personal, okay, ma'am, you having a bad day. You 7.5 instead of 9.2. What you got going on? You don't take it out on everybody else. What's happening? Meditate on your role ratio. Something. Bring it back in.
You're not saying that though.
No, I'm not. No. I was just bringing it in as in centering yourself and meditating and, See, y'all almost got living room just
We're gonna say come back.
Lord said hello and he heard your prayer. Woo! Yes, but bring yourself back to a place of centering. And what that will do, it grounds you and helps you to understand that it's not personal.
Yeah.
In the negative sense, but it is personal on the positive sense that you've got to protect your peace. You've got to protect anything that is bringing you out of that place where you feel wusa, where you feel selah, la 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 la. any place that's taking you out, if you ever find yourself with your shoulders up, you got to figure out what's going to bring you down. And when you feel your angst coming up, just settle. Settle? Oh, they don't know that. Sorry.
No, they don't.
Okay. Look, now don't y'all be walking up to me and don't be walking up to her talking about settle. That's a me and she thing, okay? It slipped out. It slipped out, my bad.
So So talk to us a little bit. Okay, now first I want to speak to this settling that you're speaking to in the meditation, because one of the things that we talk about here in this group is how music can have a very positive influence on our ability to navigate relationships. And one thing that what we have here, it's called the affirmative anthem. And so the affirmative anthem, it's multifaceted, but one of the ways that we use it is, I'll give you two different ways. One is choosing a song that you and the other person, you agree that this is the song. When we play this song, this is going to reset us. This is going to recalibrate us. This is going to pull us back to a place, remind us who we are to one another. Remind us that we love each other. Remind us that we care about each other. And it's a song that you and that other person agree on. And when things get a little heated, or when you haven't spoken to each other for a few days, maybe you send that to that person, or you text and be like, hey, you listen to this song, I'm gonna listen to it too, and let's talk at such and such a time. Or if you all are in the same house, you say you all come in the same room, play that song, and that song is it's like the automatic apology.
Yes.
But it's the place, it creates the space of being able to just understand one another and to take all that emotion out and really get to the heart of the matter.
I love that. I didn't have this until now, but I'm grateful that I do. So any of y'all out there, if you get a text from me with a song, no, we have to come together in agreement.
We have to agree on it. Okay, you can suggest, but you have to agree on the song. You have to agree on the song. Now, again, it's an affirmative anthem, so it needs to be something that's positive, uplifting, something that's going to tell us who we are. That is one way. The other way that we can use the affirmative anthem is if you're angry, if you're upset, just you on your own. And you can have a song like that for yourself. What I like to use, though, is soaking music.
Soaking or sulking?
Soak, S-O-A-K.
Okay.
Soaking music, you can find it everywhere online, and it is primarily stringed instruments. It's very long, it's very quiet. It's just like what we call in the music world like padding, where you just play one chord at a time for like 5 minutes. You play one chord, and then or it might be one, but it is it will bring you from here to here, because within 1 minute it can do that, because it is that kind of heaviness, but it's not heaviness in a negative way, but it just kind of presses on you, almost like you're getting a massage.
Yeah, it's weighty.
Yes. And so the soaking music, you can use any type of instrumental music. And stringed instruments have the ability to really calm in a different kind of way. Okay. So if you're choosing a song like for yourself, choose something that has some strings in it. So, and it's gonna calm you. It's gonna just really pull you down. Like if you're all over the place, sometimes we can just be flustered, and it will just reset. It's a reset. So affirmative anthem. So I want you to go ahead and think about that. Use that in life. You can come back to us and tell us how that goes for you. And ladies, if you are in the Mommy and Me group, then you know affirmative anthem is something we talk about all the time. And you can go ahead and share some of your songs. Like I said, I use soaking music, but sometimes with like my daughter and I, we have used songs like Rise Up by what's her name, Audra Day.
Oh,
You know,
sorry.
to really encourage, to make her feel good about herself, to get her day started, and to have a focus for the day. We've used songs like that as our affirmative anthem. And you can change your anthem whenever you want to. But have you ever used music in, you know, relationships or as a tool in guiding different relationships?
I don't think so. I mean, not on the level of what you're saying. So Trey and I have this, I mean, Trey and I, from writing from practice for years together, we always have, so one of our songs is one of our songs is Take Me to the King, right?
Okay.
And so just like random, like anytime, you know, if he just walk up and he just, truth is sometimes, it just automatically makes us laugh, and then we start singing, take me to the Ooh. And it brings us to a place where we just stop and just honor God in that moment, go from laughter to worship and just being very grateful, not just necessarily for the words of the song, but to have the relationship, the connectedness.
Yep.
That in that moment, ooh, well, I told y'all that this blue mascara burned. It's cute, but it burned. Lord. But it just creates a bond. It just, I mean, and there are other songs. Ooh, as with Taylor, the greatest love of all. That's ooh. I believe the children are our future. Teach him well and let him lead the way. As my first child, you know, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew that I had to impart greatness. I had to impart greatness. I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to just let him know how great he is.
Yeah.
And so I mean, even now, he's the greatest little boy in the world. And I would yell that from the beginning when I would walk into daycare from the front door, where's the greatest little boy in the world? And you could hear stuff dropping and hear him running and go to the thing and look over it. He's just standing there waiting. So he's always, where's the greatest little boy in the world? Because the greatest love of all is inside of him. Woo. Lord have mercy. Jesus. Lord, I thank you. Okay, music therapy.
And you know, that's the wonderful thing about music. It is so universal, and oftentimes we don't realize that we are using music to make long-lasting connections with our loved ones. Of course, we all remember the times where we would be in the house and music will be playing for one reason or another. Maybe it was Saturday morning when it was time to get up and do some cleaning up or something.
Yes.
Or maybe it was Sunday morning when the gospel music was blaring at 6, 7 o'clock. Like, get up, it's time to go to church. You know, all those things are for parties or special events. And now we want to utilize music and these songs that are a part of our everyday life and use it to help us to create a bridge in
Yes,
our relationships. And I think it's not only for the mother-daughter relationship, the parent-child, but also in friendships. You know,
absolutely.
this is our song. This is me and your song. This is our go-to. And when I send you this song, I don't care how mad you are at me. You call me, and we squashing everything, and we're starting over. And earlier you talked about maturity,
Hmm.
and I believe also there's a humility that goes with being able to shift the narrative.
Absolutely.
Humility and maturity. Talk a little bit about that, the maturity and the humility and the grace that's required, because we talk a lot about humility and grace here in order to build these relationships. So talk about that, how we can utilize these attributes in our relationships with other women.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, you have to have the desire to do so. If you are not willing, if you don't have the willingness, it is not going to happen and it is going to continue to go left. If it is to be, it starts with me. Whatever it is, if it is to manifest, if it is to happen, it has to begin inside of us. And if you don't want that, then that's going to cause you to stop and deal with yourself to say, why don't I want this peace? Why don't I want this to be all right? Why is it that I want to continue to do this? What is it doing for you? Why is it doing for you? Because at no time should you want to have combativeness in your spirit, he said peace. We should be in a place of peace, a place of not worrying. So then you have to think, okay, why am I okay with it not being peace? Number one. Number two, the humility required comes from looking in. When you come to a place where you are willing to say, okay, again, I stated earlier, what is my part in this? Show me me. And sometimes we
Mhm.
don't want to see ourselves. But
Right.
when you are operating in peace, when you are operating in calling yourself a representation of Christ and considering Calvary for our actions, but
Yeah.
show me me, show me me, show me me. And when he shows you you, you've got to be mature enough to say, oh,
Yeah.
hey, I see that. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Oh Lord.
ooh, 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 I see me, and bring it back. But if you're not, you're going to be twisted just like that was. So it's important. We've got to start standing in a place of truth with ourselves. We can't hide from us. We can't hide from us. You can't hide from what you know your truth is. You can ignore it, you can't hide, but it's going to come out in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so having that ability to just, we too old. I'm sorry, we too wise. We're too wise to not want to live the abundant life that we have been given.
Mm.
He knows our end from our beginning. He knows when we're going to leave here before we get here. So, what we are experiencing, everything, even to this conversation, is a completed work. Everything about us is already done.
Yes.
Let that ruminate, resonate, calculate, ate up, whatever. What we are going through, our lives are already completed, y'all. We're already completed. So what we are doing now, why are we going against the grain? Why are we not just being what he wants us to be when the work is already done? The experience is already done. So the time again that we're spending, we've got to take our minds to the next place.
Yeah.
Not saying that you got to be besties and chest bumping and fist bumping and calling 3 times a day and texting 15 million times a day. Create a space where you embrace what your reality is, what that looks like and what that feels like, and to have the maturity to know that it's okay. Because if you don't, you are going to eat yourself from the inside out with stress, with discontent, with not understanding instead of shoulders down. That was my string. That was my D note.
Yes, I got it.
Did you hear? Did y'all hear the sprinkle soak? But
Lord
that's
Jesus.
what it is. It's going to require, because the other thing, you mentioned it briefly earlier. The generation, not our daughter's generation, not Lord, I almost called her a nickname.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, you saw me just settle. Not Michaela's generation, but like 3-5 years behind you. They are clueless. That's why we've got to be the representation for them. All
Yeah.
they seeing is fighting, pulling weaves and wigs and snatching and fighting and pulling clothes off. That's all they have seen. So that's all that they are accustomed to. So
Yeah.
when that part comes with with Michaela's, it's right on the back of the teeth. Michaela's generation, we've got to um, jump in and immediately shift that narrative, because if we
Yes.
don't, they are going to think that that is okay. And
Right.
sadly, there are some little girls in her that are her contemporary that's all they know is
Yeah.
cussing, fussing, fighting, snatching, and grabbing. That's all they know. So what you're doing in this work through this, it is important for us. So we really are the elders now. And when I say the elders and experience, darling, experience, and where I say experience and experience, because I
Sure.
remind them they don't know nothing about the internet. I mean, they just, it took daddy a long time to get on the internet. And so the whole mindset, their mindset is different. Took mommy a long time to get on the internet. I don't need to. And when they both got on them, who let them out? Who? So, so we are in between where we have the access, we are becoming social media savvy, not probably as quickly as they are, but
Sure.
we're able to bridge the gap.
Sure. Absolutely, absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Listen, thank you so much for being here tonight on Shift the Narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just get in the comments with and just thank Beth Goodman for being here and for sharing. And I want you guys to really bombard, go ahead and follow her. Let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, and where are you? What are you doing right now?
Sure, you can follow me on all platforms as Beth Sprinkles Goodman. That's BETH Sprinkles, SPRINKLES Goodman, GOODMAN, on all social media. Also, run over. What I'm doing is I am producing a free seminar that's upcoming. I don't have a date yet. It was supposed to happen one date, but things change and I have not set the new date. However, you can go ahead and start reserving your complimentary seat by going to drbethgoodman.com. drbethgoodman.com, and grab your seat and be patient with me. Let me get through. And I'm a woman of a certain age, and clicking in HTML and DML and hashtag and CEOs and SEOs and escrows and all that.
My Lord.
So just, bear with me. I know I don't look my age. I don't look my age, but the reality is. So jump on over to drbethgoodman.com, secure your seat, more details to come. Follow me on social medias, and remember to live life with purpose, for purpose, and on purpose. And it's with that purpose you will have a life to live with tons of sprinkles on top.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And listen, this is something new that we're doing this year. This Shift the Narrative podcast is going to fully run out, play out into a podcast fully. And so you are the third interview. And so thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of it. And I am looking forward to everything that we are going to be doing, collaborating and encouraging the women of this community, of our communities, to be everything that they were designed to be. So thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching and being a part. And be sure that you share it. You can go over to, I will be uploading it to our YouTube channel, Assignment Coach Tanysha Carroll. So make sure that you are subscribed. And thank you again for being here. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful time. And we are going to see you guys. Listen, join me every single Monday in Clubhouse, in the Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse. It's Mommy and me on assignment. And this month we've been talking about anger, y'all. We've been talking about anger and how as women and as mothers particularly, sometimes our parenting has been fueled by anger, and we need to shift. We need to change that, and what we are doing to change that. So please join me on Monday nights, and then on Tuesdays at 12 noon, I'm here. I am in the Facebook group, I'm on Assignment Mommy and Me, for a Clubhouse recap and a brief conversation. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you guys again real soon. Good night, good night, good night.